Hey guys, good day. Hey, I wanted to do a Bible teaching on how we can know that the USA will be destroyed by God when end time events begin. And I know this is difficult for a lot of Americans to want to comprehend, especially American Christians who tend to be of the patriotic type. Now, I know that American patriotism, people who put their hope in American patriotism, for me, this used to be something that was part of my life. You know, I was an American patriot, red-blooded American. I love this country. I still do, but I do in a different sense. I've taken my hope out of the United States. I put it, I think, where it firmly belongs. I hope in God. And the Bible speaks about this all over. You know, it says, "O Israel, hope in the Lord. For with the Lord there is loving kindness, and with him is abundant redemption." So I don't want to beat up my Christian friends who, um, who sort of stand by the USA. But for me, the United States of America fell by the wayside with inside of me, I guess, back in um, the early 2000s. After 9/11, I knew something wasn't right. So I started to stumble across these folks who were looking at Building 7. Now, just hang with me for a little bit, guys. I want to just go through some short videos here. Building 7.
So let's focus for just a second on Building 7. This is the key smoking gun. 95% of people polled did not even realize that a third building came down, probably because the official 9/11 Commission never mentioned Building 7, which came down 7 hours after the other buildings, was never hit by a plane, only had a few fires in it. And there's a videotape recording of the owner of the building who had a major insurance policy on this and the other two towers, talking about how they decided to pull Building 7.
Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
So with this kind of...
Okay, so right there with whatever his name is, I forget his name. Let's see here. What is his name? Larry Silverstein. That is a rabbit hole. That's not true. They did pull the building, but it was more so this was a cover up for the real truth. The Secret Service, the shadow government, those guys, the CIA, they wanted the building destroyed so they could move their offices that were in that building to Colorado because they were preparing for the Passover of Nibiru. So let's look at Building 7. This is what made me realize that this country is rotten to the core. And anybody who can't see this, I have to say, is just plain ignorant. 9/11 was an inside job. It was all about the military-industrial complex establishing a foothold in the Middle East to increase military spending and to prepare for the Nibiru Passover. So this is Building 7. It fell at 5:20 in the afternoon. Okay, there were bombs placed in this building. It must have took months to place them there. And they collapsed this building because this was the office of the CIA and the Secret Service apart from Washington, D.C. This was their second main office. They needed to move this office out to Colorado. So they had to get rid of this building. Okay, so let's watch the explosions that day.
I remember getting a call from the fire department.
So um, that's what made me lose all faith in this. When I realized that George Bush, who I voted for, was just a big patsy, Dick Cheney, all of them. It's all a farce. And know that the USA is rotten to the core. Now here is Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Another story that did not make sense. This is where that plane supposedly crashed.
Wally Miller, a Somerset County coroner, told the Houston Chronicle, "It looked like somebody just dropped a bunch of metal out of the sky." In the Washington Post, "It looked like someone took a scrap truck, dug a 10-foot ditch, and dumped trash into it." And as for the passengers, "I stopped being coroner after about 20 minutes because there were no bodies there." In the Pittsburgh Review, "I have not, to this day, seen a single drop of blood. Not a drop."
Okay, so something fishy was going on out there. Let's go back to 1995 to the Oklahoma City bombing. Okay, the official story is some guy named Tim McVeigh drove up a Ryder truck with a big bomb. The bomb blew up in front of the building and blew half the building, the face of the building off. That's how the building was destroyed, from Tim McVeigh, a lone bomber, drives up in his truck, and that's how he's one of these guys. He's got guns and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, let's look at the videotaped footage that happened that day, and let's listen to very high up people make declarations about bombs that are in the building that obviously Tim McVeigh didn't put there, that this part of the story stopped being talked about and reported. So this is the day of.
Second bomb has not exploded. We don't know quite the status yet, if they've managed to defuse it, but it has been confirmed that a second bomb was found on the east side.
This is the governor of Oklahoma. Now, would he just be spreading false information when they make confirmations that there were bombs in the building? Tim McVeigh did not put those bombs in the building. It would be stupid to think that. He drove up with the truck. Remember, he's what's referred to as a patsy. They have to blame somebody.
Device was deactivated. Apparently there's another device, and obviously whatever did the damage to the Murrah building was a tremendous, very sophisticated explosive device.
So President Clinton just called Governor Frank Keating, and he says that 3 FBI anti-terrorist teams are en route to Oklahoma City. Right now, they are saying that this is the work of a sophisticated group. This is a very sophisticated...
Is Tim McVeigh very sophisticated?
Device, and it has to have been done by an explosives expert, obviously with this type of explosion.
The medical teams downtown are unable to get into the wreckage to retrieve more of the injured because of the presence of other bombs in the area.
I just took a look down the street at the Murrah building again. I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb that's been talked about. Still a lot of activity around the Murrah building.
Okay. So the point is, the official story that Tim McVeigh was a lone bomber is a bunch of nonsense. That is why I don't go for this anymore. Our country is rotten to the core. We got sick, disgusting people that are doing things behind in smoke-filled rooms that are just killing Americans to further their end. So that's why I've just decided to put my hope and faith here. I'm sorry, guys, here. I don't do it anymore here. This is gone for me, okay? So anybody who puts their hope in American patriotism, I think, they're basically blind to what God's Word said and what we, as Christians anywhere in the world, need to concern ourselves with, not USA exceptionalism. Okay, so let's get back to the study that will prove that the United States will be destroyed by God. Not using modern-day prophetic words, not putting down, folks, there's gads of them who have modern-day prophetic words talking about the destruction of this country. And by the way, I was going to show you a bunch of abortion videos, but I wasn't going to do that because then that gets people uptight. But this country allows this to continue, and when God looks down on us, he sees this. He sees the 3,000 abortions per day that continue to occur, and he could care less about this, guys. He doesn't care about that. So, okay. So where do we begin? The book of Hosea, which has never been fulfilled, chapters 4 through 14 are unfulfilled, and it gives us a blueprint on how God is going to destroy the United States and why. The book of Hosea speaks of the tribe of Ephraim, the 13th son of Jacob. So Ephraim is the United States. Okay? If you look here, 13 is all over our seal. Okay, we have 13 colonies. So the USA is Ephraim, and if you simply just look at the words of Jacob, you can see how this plays out. Jacob gives us the clues. In Genesis 48, he says to his son Joseph, he says, Manasseh shall become, that's Joseph's 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, shall become a people, and he shall also be great. Nevertheless, his younger brother Ephraim shall be greater, and Ephraim's offspring shall become a multitude, or a nation full of nations. So the United States is a nation full of 50 states. The USA has an older brother nation who is Great Britain. And the USA has become greater than his older brother nation, Great Britain. So this proves who Ephraim is. Jacob gave us the clues. Now, if you don't want to agree with this, then look at the world map and you tell me what nation Ephraim and Manasseh represent today. Pick two of them. Jacob also said, he blessed those boys, Ephraim and Manasseh, and he says, let my name, the name of Israel and Jacob, be carried on, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. So the USA and the UK have grown to be a multitude in the midst of the earth. The Jewish state of Israel, the modern nation of Israel, Judah, does not fit this description. They're nowhere near a multitude in the midst of the earth. The sons of Joseph together form the tribe of Joseph, who represent the English-speaking peoples of the world. And when you start in Hosea 5, you can see the dirty deeds of Ephraim along with Judah, and this will lead to their judgment and destruction. So I don't need a modern-day prophetic word to show that the USA will be destroyed, crushed in judgment. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. You guys can download this document and go through it. But the USA will be destroyed because God prophesies it. Now, if I start in Hosea 1, it just says, hear this, O priests. Pay attention, O house of Israel. Remember, house of Israel is the Christian church. The house of Judah are the Jews. There's no replacement theology spoken here. These are two separate houses under God, the Jews and Christians. Give ear, O house of the king. God, in my opinion, is giving Trump a warning. He speaks about this. Look at verse 5. Israel, which are the Western Christian nations, and Ephraim, the USA, shall stumble in his guilt, and Judah, modern-day Israel, will stumble with them. See, if you can't put names to these biblical names, modern-day names, then none of this makes any sense. And look what it says here. It says, blow the horn in Gibeah, the trumpet in Ramah. We will follow you, O Benjamin. That's Benjamin Netanyahu, called out by name. I think this is when Psalm 83 starts, when they attack Israel, modern-day Israel. They're going to blow the horn in Gibeah, Gibeah is a town in Benjamin. We will follow you, O Benjamin. Ephraim, the USA, shall become a desolation in the day of punishment. There it is right there. Verse 9. The princes of Judah, modern-day Israel, have become like those who move a landmark or a boundary line. Trump has a peace treaty. He's forcing on Judah, the modern nation of Israel, to move a boundary line to give some of the land to the Palestinians. And when this occurs, what is God going to do? I'm going to pour out my wrath upon them like water. Ephraim, the USA, is oppressed, crushed in judgment, because he is determined to go after filth. Okay, so there's no modern-day prophet here. Hosea has never been fulfilled. If you can't follow this, then tell me who this Ephraim is then. And after this occurs, the people of the USA run to the Assyrian, the great king, to be cured. Now, some people think this is Obama. Obama might be the Assyrian. He might be one of the 10 kings. In fact, I do think Obama is one of the 10 kings. And maybe in the USA, these guys run to him. But right when this land deal occurs, look what the Lord does. For I will become like a lion to the USA, and a young lion to the house of Judah. The house of Judah is not modern-day Israel. It's the Jews. When it says house of Judah, it means the believing Jews. When it says Judah by itself, it means modern-day Israel. For I will be like a lion to the USA, and a young lion to the house of Judah. Even I will tear and go away. I will carry off, and none will rescue. So we take this verse 14 and compare it with Jeremiah 50, verse 44, where we see this lion reference, and we see that the Lord has a plan to steal away, tear away the little ones of the flock. So you can see the timing here with this peace deal. Guys, I'm not going to continue to go through this document. You guys can go through it yourselves, but I just want to make it plain and clear. Where do you put your hope? Do you put your hope? Let's go down here and look for a second. Do you put your hope in the multitude of the warriors of the United States? Some people do. So he says, because you have trusted in your own way, folks of the USA, the Ephraimites, and he entrusted in the multitude of your warriors. Therefore tumult of war shall arise among your people, and all your fortresses will be destroyed. At dawn the king of Israel shall be utterly cut off. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. You guys can download this document. But for all my patriotic Americans who put their hope in the United States, I would say, guys, consider the words of God right here. Put your hope in the Lord and forsake, to me, this God-forsaken country that has left the God of our salvation. It says in Isaiah 17, for you have forgotten the God of your salvation, the rock of your refuge. So with that, guys, have a great day, and God bless you.